this isn't going to be easy. This one is personal. This isn't me drinking. This isn't me giving random facts about the 7 deadly sins of mythology or answering a questionnaire. No, this is not. This is probably going to be one of the more personal things that I've put online. Probably more personal than my Tumblr, probably more personal than my Facebook, and how honest I can actually be. Because a lot of people don't know this side of me. Well, I feel like that if you haven't, then you're actually not that close to me. Of time of recording, my mother passed away 2 years ago, and 2 years ago to the day. 3 hour, what would be 3 hours from time of recording, which would have been 8 o'clock. So she died January 31st, 2012 at 8 p.m. And it's different. It's just different. Oh, just so y'all know, if you're looking for cuts, you're not going to find them. This is just going to be me and my camera, and whoever wants to click that play button. One of the most emotional things is pure, raw emotion. And that's honestly what you're going to get. Just me talking to my camera about her, I guess, and what it's just meant to me, because it's tough. And that's the light of it. My mom still means a lot to me. She still has an effect on me, even though her time on Earth ended 2 years ago. I still get the voice in my head of her. I still hear her laugh. Lord, her laugh. But her laugh, I still hear it. It's loud. It's something. She's still helping me too. It's the desk I'm currently sitting at is hers. This is a name tag. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. Still keep it. All this stuff here, even though all of it's mine now, it's still littered with her stuff. Found a graduation picture of me. It's locked away in here, along with so much other stuff. She still affects us. But anyways, I really don't know what to say. This is the second attempt trying to do this. First one failed because YouTube sucks. I'm not afraid to say it. She still holds that piece of my soul, at least, of just what it means to me to be who I am, to care as much as I do, because that really does come from her. Like, her caring level does come from her. How much she cared, how much she wanted to be accepted, to be loved. And I still have those aspects of her personality. I still have those desires, I guess is the best word for it, to be loved. She just... Thanks to her, I wouldn't be where I am. Without her, I wouldn't be debt-free. I wouldn't be... I might be out of college, but I wouldn't be doing what I wanted. And just... She's helped us so much. Okay, we'll go back. My mother had problems. Health problems, I guess, is the best term for it. Back after I graduated, I went to a school that will not be named, but was a very Christianized Southern Baptist school, and it was not a good fit for me. We'll go with that, and just how it worked with me. So I transferred out after getting through a semester, thankfully, and I transferred to Western Carolina University. And I spent the first 2 months there trying to make friends and trying to be sociable. I did get into what I thought I wanted to do with my life at the time, which was making movies for fun, and I guess that's what I'm still doing. But I got into that motion picture program. I got accepted into. I made friends that I would not have made if I didn't make the major, but it was still tough coming in as a freshman midway through the year and not have the friends that you had through an orientation or anything, because the way Western did it, there wasn't an orientation. Well, there was. It was just the Sunday before classes. No, it was the Saturday. It was the Saturday before classes, and Sunday you kind of got your bearings, and then Monday you started classes. Woot. So I managed to get through that, but I made it home for spring break, and I made it home, and my dad decided to tell me when I got there, not any time leading up, not any time happening during, but my mother had cancer, uterine cancer, and she and she had the surgery the day I traveled. She got out probably about halfway through, but she was tired and didn't want to do anything. So I spent my freshman year spring break with my mother recovering from cancer surgery that I didn't know she was having before I came home. Thanks. But we got through it. Nobody died to that point. Um, she she recovered to an extent, but not getting into details. We made it through this. Made it to summer, and she was having problems with doctors listening to her. She was having problems with um, just attention, I guess, because she was at that point where doctors did not care, and then they adjust certain things that affected her, and she couldn't deal with it anymore. They decreased her depression medicine, and that set her off. Um, it was a day in June. I left. Dad left for work. My older sister was down in Beaufort, and I left for work. I was working at a water park on James Island in South Carolina, and she stayed home because she was still recovering from surgery after 4 months, because she still wasn't well enough to return to work. And she tried to commit suicide. And that shook me to the core. I don't really talk to people about certain things about that story, but she we did get to see her that night. I didn't find out. Dad got home and found her. That was at around 5. I didn't get off work till 6:30. And I did get to see her that night. She was somewhat conscious, I guess. But she asked Dad one question. She asked if she was in heaven. Dad said, "No, no, you're not." And she began to cry and then passed out. And you talk about horror. You talk about scaring somebody that they don't know what they believe anymore, and then I can show you that, and you can't react to that. Like, an emotional, exhausting day is one thing, and then seeing your mother Ask if she's dead. Ask if she has gone to the afterlife. Realize that she hasn't. Burst into tears and then pass out. But she made a full recovery. All of the problems that with her doctors finally got stopped. She finally was getting better. She's finally good. Good. She even has the ability to go back to work. And then it's time for me to go to school. And I can't. That summer was just, I couldn't. Like, so many things happened. I was supposed to be, I thought I was, at least, going to be in one of the nicer dorms of the campus. And I had it booked, apparently. But I didn't finish, I didn't sign my name on the dotted line, or whatever the fuck it was. And that was, and then I got bumped to just a room that they had, and I was like, fuck, fine. And then it's a piece of shit room. It's in one of the oldest dorms. It has no air conditioning. It's a tiny ass room. And then I realized that I really didn't have any friends there. And I was just like so upset of everything and being away from my mother. And I was just like, I was 2 steps away. No, not even that. I was a half a step away from leaving Weston before the start of the fall 11, right? No, it would have been fall 10. Before most of my friends even had met me at Weston. I was a half a step away from just leaving that college and just stopping and just going home and not caring. Because that summer in that year had already consumed me so much that I was just done. And just how everything at Weston's gone. But we got through it until he came back with a vengeance, as the doctor said it would. I remember spending holiday with her. The last week of my holiday, I was driving her around, seeing doctors, and because we thought it was a stomach ulcer, but no one understood that it was actually her liver just gone. And then that weekend, what would have been like the weekend of the 28th that year, I was coming down to make her feel better, just to try to bring a smile to her face. And on the way down, they had figured out that it was unstoppable. It was to the point where she couldn't anymore. Her kidneys had failed. Her liver was gone. The options were to either just end with the kidneys and it'd be 4 days, or that she'd go on dialysis and fight the cancer, which she most likely died from chemo. And if she didn't, she'd make it to April. And since me and Dad kind of had this thing that since she had already stared death in the face once, that she didn't mind this one because there wasn't going to be any pain. There wasn't going to be any pain like the chemo or trying to fight it. That she'd just go and just but she's still with us in some aspects. My paternal grandmother has a wind chime that my mother gave her. It's a big wind chime with pipes about that big and a color of Charleston green, maybe a little bit lighter, that sits out on her deck and just, I don't know, just, we consider it Mom's wind chime, and that when it chimes or makes any noise, that it's her yelling at us or laughing at us. Her laugh. I've been hearing that chime a lot recently. I've been out there a lot. I've been working out in my grandmother's backyard because of just that's where the best place to work on my craft is, especially the carpentry stuff, because she's got a nice garage that I can work from, and it's not too far from my house where I'm currently living. But like I said, she still has an effect on us, still effect on me. I still hear her laugh. The laugh that you could hear for a mile away. The laugh that when I was doing plays that I could hear any night and I knew she was there. Even though I couldn't even see the front row. Just, she's still with us. Hell, I have a tattoo on my back for her. It's a cross necklace that my dad got her for her 53rd birthday or something. And that she loved to wear after she realized that no matter what, even if she lost it, Dad would get a new one for her because that was hers. That was something she loved and adored. And so I got, before I graduated college, I got that tattoo because I felt like that allowed her to stay in my life and kind of meant a lot to me of how, I don't know, it just meant a lot, okay? It just, to have the little angel sitting on this side of my shoulder of her, and just how that cross means so much to me. And my sister is in current possession of the said cross, and how she wears it, and how that's kind of our symbol of her, even though that we have so many symbols around. I have all the letters she wrote to me in college when she was just missing me, and all the drawings that she did in high school and grade school that clutter our house and are hung up everywhere, and a plant that was at the funeral that still hasn't died even though that we barely take care of it, and just all this stuff around me that I don't take away because she either gave it to me or affected it in some way. So even though it's still 2 years out, still 2 years of getting used to it, it still affects us. It still means something to me. It's still a hole that can never be patched. Just like the tattoo, it really never heals. It's it's just something that's not going away. It's not anything to laugh at or pass up or anything to let go of. And I can't let go of that. After I got back to school, after the initial um the initial not the initial but after the funeral, after everything had happened, I got back to school within the next week, because her funeral was Saturday and I was back to classes on Monday. And I only had one teacher actually talk to me about it, because he had no fucks to give. He he knew of pain. He knew of the emotions, and that was my screenwriting professor at the time, and he was the only one that actually talked to me about it. Most of the other teachers kind of just let me go, and I owe so much to him, besides letting me pass that class, because I did not deserve to be in that class at all, and I should have dropped it, because I was not my emotionally my emotions just varied so much in that class, and just how it just screenwriting and trying to come up with emotion, and that the fact that you're so emotionally unstable was just the fact that I could not put A and B together and get C. I just kept throwing B and B and B over and over again, and it just never worked as a story. And when I actually tried, it didn't sound right. It didn't have the right emotions for it, and it just didn't work. But he said that it was going to take a year, to get used to the pain, just to the loss, that it was going to take a year, and that no matter what happened in that year, is that you could not dwell on what was, and that the fact that you can't dwell on the fact that she is no longer here, but you had to bring out the joy and the happiness and all the good emotions that come with life, and how she had all of those emotions and used them in such a positive way, and made sure as best as she could that those were the emotions they got out, and that you have to cherish those emotions, and how the fact that you get to cherish all of those little memories, and just those little things like her going to every single one of my football games, and the fact that she was able to see the plays that I did professionally, even though that she never did see a play that I did in college, and the fact that she got to see everything I did in high school, every single play, every football game, even though that I scared her half to death playing that sport, and that you have to cherish all of the good times, and you can't dwell on the fact that she's no longer with us. And that's what I continually try to do. I try to show those emotions. I try to always have a good personality out. I try to have a lot of smiles on my face. I try to show that I'm always in a good mood. Because that's who I am, and that's what I've learned I should do, and should actually try to be, and show that I am a good person. I do care, and how she did it, and not dwell on the fact that my mother, at the age of 50, 55, oh crap, I can't even remember her age. It would have been 57. Right? Yep. At the age of 57, passed away due to complications from uterine cancer in her home, in my home, with all of her loved ones and family around her. Sorry for the length. Sorry for this being one of the most emotional videos that I'll do. At least the most emotional backing ones that will just bitch slap if you were not prepared for it. But I'm not sorry.